message for my people.
Nick Dad, baby. We the new label.
Yeah.
Come on.
Yeah.
Come on, son.
Now this the black sheep sticking its home. I need a crib like I'm Gatsby.
I need it.
In hand, just understand my
Pockets that deep.
with nothing to prove. I ain't got nothing to do. When they can't compete and I got nothing to lose. You see, they told me I'm the one that's gonna benefit. Never been a threat. Talking out of line, but never let me.
I just complimented Isaiah in his technical directing, and he missed across the off.
He always miss. He always misses a good fist.
I still love him. He's the best, dude. Isaiah's good. Yoni's better. How are you?
I'm good, man. I'm good. I want to start off the show hot. We have a big guest, CJ Watson. Close out the show, talk some NBA stuff. Shouts to CJ.
Yeah.
This is very random.
Mm-hmm.
When you use the bathroom
Yeah.
in like a public setting,
This is random.
this is very random, right? Because I just went and used the bathroom, and I washed my hands first before I peed. This guy looked at me like I was crazy.
Wait, you washed your hands before you peed?
Yeah, every time.
That's weird, dude. Why would you do that?
Why is that weird?
Okay.
I think it's weird if you don't do that. I'm talking about in a pub. I'm not saying when you're at your house.
but like
but all
before
day
you
I'm-
pee?
Yeah, dude. You're not going to touch your main missile with fucking dirty ass hands. I'm touching keyboards. I'm touching mics, doorknobs, shaking hands with valet and shit. I always wash my hands first. Then I do my business and then I wash them again.
Okay. You want my like funny answer?
No, I
That's
want.
kind of the truth though.
Okay, yeah, good.
You've definitely never had anal sex before.
No, I have not.
Yeah, I would explain it all, dude.
On
Yeah.
both parties. Definitely,
Well, I
definitely
know,
not.
of course. I'm just saying. I'm just saying, you know, like
Yeah, I'm good on that, man. People shit there. I'm all
once
right.
that's been there, you're like, I mean,
It's been through the ringer.
I ain't got to wash my hands before I pee. I'll tell you that much.
That's a good point, I guess. Yeah.
That it
Um,
will. I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I've ever washed my hands before peeing, unless I have like some like maple syrup or like I don't know.
I
like
do it
sticky shit on me.
all the time. Hey, bro, you're out at a bar, right? You're out at a
Mhm.
bar. You're paying cash. The Knicks hit a 3. You high five the random dude you don't know.
I get it.
You're grabbing dirty cups. You're eating and all that. Then you're gonna go use the bathroom. People are throwing up. People are fucking pissing everywhere, and you're
Yeah,
not gonna
maybe-
wash your hands before it. I'm crazy. Yo, in the comments, because I'm gonna clip this. Am I crazy for doing that? 'Cause I think it's gross if you don't do that.
I mean, this is going to go viral, and
I hope so.
And it's going to lead in perfectly to some of the other things we talk about as far as trolls, because you will get a lot of trolls for this.
I love it.
They're gonna be like, "You're not even a man." You're gonna get a lot of New Yorkers that are like, "A man will never wash his hands before he takes a piss."
That was a good accent.
Yeah, I'm getting better,
That was
dude.
a good
Hanging out with
accent.
you.
Yeah, yeah.
I got to remind you of it before
I
you go
was
back
on
home.
I was on Treasure show. Shouts to Stat. Check out the Stat. I was on her show. Better numbers than Jamal Hill. All right?
I mean,
Price is going up.
the
That's all I'm
stats
saying.
don't lie.
Stats don't lie. Yeah, stats don't lie. Shout out to Stat though. She had me on the show, and the reason why I bring that up is obviously cheap plug. Number one. Number two, they said that the New York accent is strong,
Mm,
so I still have the New York accent. I'd be devastated if I lost it, bro.
yeah. Well, now that you work with Cam,
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
good.
dude,
It's-
yeah, he keeps it fresh.
Yeah,
he keeps it in
they
your
do.
vernacular.
Yeah.
Let me hit you with that.
I
word.
was slipping a little bit. I was about a year in Vegas, and felt like I was losing it. I
Yeah,
went back home, and my friends were trolling me. Oh, that's what my friends do. But
There's no real Las Vegas accent though.
nah, but like I feel like
It's West Coast. It's a little slower.
a little softer.
Yeah, it is soft.
I feel like West Coast is soft.
It's like washing your hands before taking a piss soft.
Nah,
Yeah,
that's
it's
just
soft
Isaiah
as
throwing
shit,
his
dude.
hands
That
up.
is soft as shit.
It's,
Nick, you're gonna get clowned, man.
yeah, you think so? Let
I
us
mean,
know. Let
yeah.
us know in the comments what you guys think. I don't think it's crazy. I think that you should be doing it. Yeah, bro. Like you go, dude. You go to the gym, right? You're touching fucking barbells and shit.
Yeah.
and kettlebells or all this stuff. You're on the Stairmaster. The person before you sweating, right? They have their hands up on the handlebars. You touch the handlebars, then you're gonna go use the bathroom. You're not gonna wash your hands first?
You just you just pull it out the ball. You lift up your shorts.
I do
your
that too.
shorts,
I
and
do
it
do
just-
that too,
It goes
yeah.
out the ball. Yeah, dude. Come on now. Come on now. I mean, I'm not touching it most of the time, brother. I mean, it's just dangling there. It does it for me.
You gotta
know?
just dangle, bro.
Sometimes
you gotta,
I do like to, super soaker shit, like shit. Like,
Star Wars. You
shoom,
sabers.
shoom. Yeah.
Got the lightsabers going.
Wow, that was.
Oh man,
what
hot
a
start
to
to
this shit.
the episode.
Wow.
If you guys haven't checked out the interview with Marab dropped on Monday. Got some really good feedback for that. Please rate, review, subscribe. Yeah, it was a really cool episode. It was super fun. And yeah, check it out. Let us know what you think. George,
Yes.
I want to talk a little NFL draft. And those that have been listening to the show for a long time or know anything about me, they know I don't like giving out draft grades. I think it's dumb. I think it's too soon to give out a grade. I think my approach to the draft has always been sort of like, what did you see that you liked? Or what did you see that you disliked, right? Like pros and cons. And I have a couple here that I think are interesting. My approach, though, just to elaborate a little bit more, it's not so much, oh, this team got a D, this team got an A. Because again, I always bring this up, the Seattle Seahawks, they got a D and it altered the franchise, right? So nobody really knows. But my thing is, and I think the most notable one, is I don't know what Atlanta was doing with that pick of Michael Penix. Now, personally, I don't like Michael Penix because he's a lefty.
Yeah.
What would that be? What kind of like?
You'd be anti-leftist.
I'd be anti-leftist. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't like that he's a left. I don't like Tua for that reason, even though he does jiu-jitsu now. I fuck with that, but I don't like that you're a lefty. The ball spirals different. It doesn't.
A
Doesn't the
majority of the
rotation-
time, the cameras are on one side of the field, so you get a different view of the quarterback than you're used to seeing too, and that fucks with you.
Yeah, and now your right tackle is the most valuable as opposed to your left tackle, you
Mhm.
know? And then you have other teams, because there's not a lot of lefty quarterbacks. You have a lot of teams that have right-handed quarterbacks as backups. So then that alters everything if the quarterback goes down. But back to Atlanta, right? It's hard to justify this pick, in my opinion, because you gave $180 million to Kirk Cousins. If Kirk plays out the contract, Penix is going to be 28. Because Penix was one of the older. I think he's like 24,
Mhm.
right? So he was an older quarterback coming into the draft. And I know Raheem Morris, who's now the head coach in Atlanta, after being a coordinator all these years, he referenced the Green Bay Packers model of you draft a quarterback, they sit. And he mentioned Aaron Rodgers, obviously, behind Brett Favre, and then Jordan Love behind Brett Favre.
Yeah.
Well, the biggest difference with that is Love was 21 when they drafted him. Rodgers was 22 when they drafted him.
The timeline's changed.
Timeline changes. And then also, I feel like Atlanta, unless they know that, like, yo, this Achilles injury, because Kirk is going to be 36 during the season.
Yeah.
Unless they know some shit where, yo, this is insurance because he's going to play.
Mm-hmm.
Which then, I guess, but still, top 10. I think that was a very head-scratching selection for me.
It was for me for a second, and then I had flashbacks to the Kansas City Chiefs taking Patrick Mahomes, and Alex Smith is still a very, very good, stable quarterback. Showed him the ropes. I think Kirk Cousins is better than what Alex Smith was back then. But now with the injury, it's honestly one and the same, dude. So I think a year of learning for a gunslinger is very important. I mean, Jeremiah, the head of the studio here, was kind of outlining to me that he had more yards over 50 or more passes over 15 yards this past year in college by like double the amount of any of the top 25 quarterbacks. His game, in my opinion, translates most to the NFL. And it was just, I mean, I know we're on the topic of quarterback here. First time ever, 6 quarterbacks taken in the first round. Do we see 7 next year? Is this going to be a trend that goes crazy? And yeah, do a double check to make sure. I think the most before that was 5, and we had outlined that in a show a couple of months ago. But for 6 quarterbacks to be taken, and I'll tell you right now, it's definitely not the talent level that you'd be waiting to see.
It was 5, and all 5 went in the top 12.
Correct.
Yeah.
5.
Oh, no, shit. My bad. It was 6.
Right.
I'm bugging.
Yeah.
Caleb, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, Michael Penix, J.J. McCarthy, and Bo Nix. I keep forgetting Bo Nix. And it's crazy because I mentioned Bo Nix out to you guys, and we were talking about this beforehand.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know, the thing that just based off was a really interesting graphic that appeared during the draft. And it was something that I've always gravitated to as I've gotten older and started to understand contracts, right? Again, shout out to Will Blackman. Learned a lot about football in the 6 months we were doing the show together. He was really explaining to me that, dude, just because a player gets cut doesn't mean that he's bad. He's an $18 million cap hit. So all those other little nuances that you don't know as even if you're a not even casual. Like, I'm more than a casual, but like, even as someone that does this now for a living, there's certain levels to everything. Like we were talking about with CJ, like you guys will hear later, that you just can't comprehend. And the thing with first round picks, since I believe the graphic was 2012, right? That was the first of the holy shit 5 quarterbacks went in the first round. Tannehill, Brandon Weeden, RG3, Andrew Luck, and then it wasn't 5. It was Russell Wilson ended up being one of the quarterbacks. But anyway, what I'm getting at is, what's a successful draft pick? I know I've talked about this in the past too, but they grade a successful draft pick. Do you sign a second contract with a team after your rookie deal? Do you know what the most successful position is?
In re-signing new contracts?
Like this position, you draft this position, 92% of the time they re-up with your team.
With the same team?
With the team that drafted you.
Okay, it wasn't just like stays in
No,
the NFL.
just... Yeah.
Okay.
I'll give you a hint if you'd like one.
No, I'll take a guess. I'm going to go offensive tackle.
Very close.
Guards?
To be exact, centers. Again, anytime a team drafts an offensive lineman, they get booed, right? He's not going to start on your fantasy team. It's not exciting. Shit, if our boy, Junior, we're throwing up fucking head kicks if you boo that shit. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, my God, dude. Because we'll be there.
Oh, yeah. Oh, 100%.
I was telling my family
100%.
that. I was telling my family that. I'm like, no, we're not doing a fucking party at the house. Yes, people can party at the house. If it's like,
Gonna be a first round pick,
you're going.
Oh, yeah.
You're going. You're taking it. It doesn't matter, bro. Like, that's a part of the experience. If it doesn't happen, then part of the experience is that fucking sucked.
Yeah.
Let's go party at the house.
Yeah. Fuck
it is what it is.
Fuck yeah. So center is the one that converts the most. Do you know what converts the least?
Ooh, receiver.
Yeah. 23%.
Furthest away from the ball.
For every Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson and CeeDee Lamb, you have Darius Hayward-Bay. And you have
just go through all the Giants receivers in the last.
Come on, man. Don't do
4
this
years.
to me. First round picks. Hakeem Nicks.
Yeah.
Hakeem Nicks didn't re-sign with the New York Giants. Odell did re-sign, then we traded him. So you're looking at dudes like Roma Dunze, looking at guys like Malik Neighbors, Marvin Harrison, going in the first round, Brian Thompson Jr. out of LSU. Xavier Worthy. Ricky Pearsall. By the way, Ricky Pearsall, human highlight reel.
Oh, yeah, dude.
Also is a white dude playing wide receiver, like real wide receiver.
He's going to...
He went to the Niners.
Yeah. They needed that in the mix.
Well, they needed that in the mix too, and especially all the reports coming out that I think either Debo or Ayuk are not on the team, especially after this pick.
Yeah.
Come week 1.
Agreed.
More and more momentum on potentially no Justin Jefferson on the Vikings, which was my bold take on an episode. I think I did it with Alan. We were recording one time remote, and I felt like that was like my hot take. But going back to the draft, right? Like, it's hard, man. It's hard to know that these teams like hit on the picks. I do like what Detroit did. Take another DB. You know, you had issues getting off the field, and you would give up a lot of passing yards. Like, you were a pass funnel.
Mm-hmm.
And now another year with Aiden Hutchinson, you get a first round pick in Terrion Arnold. I like that. You know, shit. I like what Philly did.
Yeah, I felt like this year, because there were so many quarterbacks drafted early, it really freed up a lot of these teams later in the draft to get like steals of players. I feel the league kind of shifted where 2 years ago you were taking nothing but edge rushers for the first 10 picks, and you were just willing to take the shot on those DNs. I would love to see the conversion rate on DNs to re-upping to their next contract. But an example that I'm going to bring up here is the Colts getting, and I'm going to butcher his name, but Lata Leitu, the UCLA hybrid edge rusher who can honestly translate good into being an outside linebacker, but he's going to be one of the better pass rushers in the league this next year. Another one is, and Penn State produces them on repeat, Chop Robinson, dude, another D-end, played amazing in a couple of the games that I watched him against Michigan. Honestly, I think he was the player that came out with reports that he was a 14-pound baby.
Mm.
And then somebody had tweeted out, shout out to moms, you know, for having to deal with that.
Baby.
Yeah. But, you know, she was holding a first round draft pick. So it was worth it.
So I stand corrected. I want to elaborate more on this success rate. So pre-draft work from ESPN content producer Paul Hembo. This is from Jeremy Fowler, who calculated hit rates on first round picks from 2000. I said 2012. This is from 2000 to 2019. George, why do we stop at 2019? You might be asking, the fans might be asking. Well, a lot of these guys haven't had the chance
To see if they pan out.
to see if they're going to get a second contract, because you don't necessarily, if you're a 2020 first round pick, there's a player option. There's a lot of shit that we still don't need to, or a team option, I should say. So here are the results. 92% center. Next, you were right, offensive tackle, 59%. So look at the drop off there.
Steep.
And dude, it gets ugly. So if you're a fan, this is why I would always talk about this shit in the past. A third of first round picks become all pro bowlers. And what I mean by pro bowl is like, you were actually one of the best players, not because you were popping on Instagram, you made the Pro Bowl. Like, you were a legitimate all-star Pro Bowler, right? The other third is, all right, George is cool at guard.
Yeah.
Then the other third, don't re-up with the team again. Guard, 50%. Linebacker, 48%. Quarterback, 46%. Edge rusher, you referenced before, 44%. Defensive tackle, 40%. Cornerback, 38%. Running back, 38%. Safety and tight end, safety, 34%. Tight end, 33%. Wide receiver, 27%. So based off those numbers, right? Based off those numbers, wide receivers, Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors, Romo Dunze, Brian Thompson Jr., Xavier Worthy, Ricky Pearsall, Xavier Leggett, right? So that's 7. Based on those numbers, bro, 2 are going to re-sign with their team. That's fucking wild to think about, because think about how high we have all these guys.
Yeah.
It's nuts.
Even if it is a need or a position that needs to be addressed, I just feel like the Cardinals are kind of like an example where, you know, out of every team to be taking lots of quarterbacks, like, you don't think that you should probably put a little pressure on Kyler Murray and this next year to kind of elevate his play instead of giving him somebody who they're still not going to be able to use that much. And I mean, I do think out of the wide receivers that can pan out, he definitely has all the physical abilities. but life happens, dude. And it's a position in which if your quarterback isn't happy and has a shitty year, it's almost like triple as bad for you because you have another batch of receivers. That you also have to think about the amount of receivers that there are. I mean, coming out of college and all the players that entered the drafts, I would assume receiver probably has the most per any position.
Yeah, especially now where
Like,
now basically, I think the number was like 79% of the NFL ran 3 or more wide receiver sets this year. So
Yeah.
you're going to need more guys coming out for the draft. And I think the craziest thing with the draft, like that number in particular with wide receiver, it's just so wild because again, it goes back to what I've always talked about with the draft. Like I think what you should do if I was a GM, you know how I would handle my drafts and free agency? Free agency, I get my needs because I physically know what this guy's capable of. I need a
Agreed.
guard. Let me get the best guard available. It fulfills a need for the team. Draft, I'm a best player available guy.
yeah.
What made the Giants really successful in the early 2000s and even into the 2010s before shit started falling apart? Oh, just because we have, well, what made them unsuccessful, I should say, is they stopped building on strength. So, we got Justin Tuck and OCU Manura. We got a dope defensive line. Let's try a running back, a wide receiver, a safety, and corner. And then your guys get old. The same shit happened with the offensive line, which is why I like what San Fran has done all these years. Yo, we have a dope defensive line. Guess what we're taking in the first round? More D-line, more D-line, more D-line.
Right.
That's our strength of our team, right? Our front four, more of that. We're
Mhm.
really good on the offensive line, more of that. What happened in Dallas all these years? Best offensive line in the league. Don't address this for a decade. You have one guy remaining, Zach Martin. Amazing. Future Hall of Famer. But this is what happened. So I'm a big best player available guy, even if it isn't for a need. If you had the 10th pick and fucking Marvin Harrison was there,
You're taking them.
you got to take him.
Yeah.
So that's how I feel about the draft.
Yeah, I feel there was a lot of panicking this year. I don't know. I'm struggling to know if it's panicking or if this is what we need to expect from the NFL for the remainder of time. Is it just going to be over 5 quarterbacks every single year? I mean, they're already outlining. I saw like the predictions for next year's NFL draft already, and they're pretty much outlining 5 quarterbacks to be drafted in the first round again. I'm not the biggest fan of it, to be honest. I think people need to draft more centers. The longevity play. I don't think I've ever seen can you name a center that was drafted in the first round? Because it's crazy that they re-up the most at a 92% clip. And we just never.
I feel like the Saints have a center in the first round, no? The first one
Max Unger.
the first one
maybe?
that came to my mind, he's not in the league anymore, but Pouncey with the
True.
Steelers.
Yeah.
Like that was the first one that I could think of. But we'll continue this
Yeah.
another time. We do need to wrap up and get to these ad reads, bro.
Yeah.
Go ahead and get to these ad
Excited for
reads.
this.
Let's go ahead and go to Unified. Let's bang out Unified first. Whether you are a world-class athlete or a podcaster or both, like I am, we all understand the importance of mental health and physical well-being and proper recovery for top-notch performance. That's why I'm excited that Unified Healing is sponsoring this episode of Veterans Minimum. What is Unified Healing? It's a new and super innovative global network of wellness centers powered by Energy Enhancement Systems, or George, EESystem. If you haven't heard of EESystem yet, you'll want to listen up. This technology promotes wellness, deep relaxation, rejuvenation, and purification. Whether you're here in Las Vegas or the hundreds of other locations across the globe, access to a center is easy and affordable. Interested in experiencing the EESystem technology for yourself? Go to unifiedhealing.com/vetmin. VETMIN, to learn more and find a center near you. It's spelled UNIFYD healing.com/VETMIN. No material or testimonials on the Unified Healing website are intended to be viewed as medical advice or substitute for professional medical advice, diagnosis, or treatment. Always seek the advice of your physician or other qualified health providers with any questions you may have regarding a medical condition or treatment and before undertaking a new healthcare regimen, including EESystems. I fucking nailed that.
You did.
That was dope.
That's the
bro.
part at the end of the commercials, though,
Yeah,
where they
that's
read that and like,
hashtag disclaimer life.
can we try to get that in 4 seconds?
I could speed it up and post. Maybe throw Yoni a nice little $20 to be like, yo,
yeah, Yoni,
speed this up. Yoni won't say no. I know that, as he's giving us, oh, that's a middle finger. That's not
medical
nice.
disclaimer. Cut it. This
Yeah,
400.
we do got to speed that up. That'd be dope. But also, George, we also have,
Yes.
and you know, there's not a lot of things that really get me excited. It's subathons, Darces,
Yep.
back post runs in FIFA,
Those are all good things.
Spanish chicks,
Yes.
and new sponsors for the show.
Boom. What a list.
What a list. Shout out to Rebet. Rebet is a free-to-play social sports book. Rebet cash or Rebet coins. Users can gain an in-app status based on the number of coins they have. Users can post bets to their feed where followers can like, comment, or rebet their bet. The rebet button instantly duplicates another user's bet for yourself. Users can bet directly with friends with our peer-to-peer betting. If you guys ever paid attention to Veterans Minimum, what did I say the future of betting was?
Peer-to-peer.
Peer-to-peer. I said this shit fucking 6 years ago. This isn't part of the ad, but now it is because we're going off the top of the dome here. Users can bet directly with friends. That's why I really like Rebet. That's why we partnered up with them. Beginners can navigate to the settings and turn on your easy-to-read line modes. This will transform your entire platform into a simple and easy understanding format. For example, spread -3 is now shown as win by 3 or more points. A lot of people in the betting space are like, what does negative mean? It's like, no, it's not negative. It's minus. That indicates that it's the favorite. And money line is now shown as game winner. Rebet is a free-to-play sweepstakes platform. There is no purchase necessary to participate on Rebet. States that Rebet is available in that the big sports betting apps are not: California, Texas, Utah, Minnesota, Missouri, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, Oklahoma, Alaska, Hawaii, and Washington. The states that they're not available in, obviously Idaho. Because I mean, like, dude, when I tell you this was perfect because not shout out to Idaho. You know how we feel about Idaho, but Idaho, you're not going to be able to join in on the fun because you're not a fun place to be, probably. So Idaho, Michigan, and Nevada, you're not in there. Fans of Veterans Minimum, go to Rebet app, download the app, and for new users, they will match your first bet of $100 American in the app. They're giving you $100 using the code VM to play alongside us. We've partnered with them. Peer-to-peer betting, I'm a super big fan of. The VIG, they're offering the best lines. The juice, I should say, is the best available right now on the markets. Go and check out Rebet. Use promo code VM. Post us, tag us that you're using it. And I think we're going to give away some money, too, in the month of May.
That's the
A
plan.
couple fun giveaways
Yeah.
for people joining Rebet and tagging us. Oh, you know what? If you deposit $100 on Rebet over the next, let's say until the next episode, we'll pick someone that we'll give them $100.
I'll say this.
Okay.
If you deposit $100 on a Rebet, I am willing to, and you send us a screenshot. I'll do peer-to-peer, whatever they choose. $5 max, because I'm assuming a lot of people are going to sign up.
Yeah.
But yeah, get yourself a favorable line. I love hungry dogs, and let's do this.
Fucking go, man.
Yeah.
Fucking go. And before we go, patreon.com/veterans minimum. Real quick, Derek Platees. I don't know what fucking address he sent me, because I sent the Super Bowl helmet over and it got sent back.
No.
And it told me that it was an improper address. So I don't know where you're living, but reach out to us and let's make sure we figure it out. All right.
That's nuts.
Because I'm going to
dude.
send it one more time. And if not, then you're not getting the helmet. Like, Anthony Edwards did. The chop. Free shit, man. It's free shit. Derek, you're better than this. You're a Patreon member. I expect greatness. Which leads me to this. Daniel Gibson, Mahul Patel, Abel Rezin, Ben Kotzian, Christopher Velasquez, Dylan Chadwick, Derek Platees, Jordan Riley, Mike Stevens, Mike Wozniak, Nick Crummage, Jerry Shapiro, and Thomas Robinson. And also, before we get into our interview with CJ Watson, shout out to Josiah Leva, newest member of the Patreon.
That's big. Josiah, welcome.
Shout out to Josiah. Thank you for the contributions to the Patreon. Patreon.com/veterans minimum, everybody. All right, we're back. And joining us now, a returning guest, the man, George, who debunked my Miami flu. I was holding on to this shit for a decade plus, and then he said that he went out the night before and then had a career night. So much for that. My guy, CJ Watson. Quiet Storm back in the building. Thanks for coming, bro.
No, appreciate you for having me. Thank y'all.
I am a little pissed off about that, I will say, because all my boys hit me up. They're like, damn, bro, all these years you thought you had something. And that video went crazy on TikTok, too. So I appreciate you sharing that story. How you holding up?
We're doing good, man. Just can't complain. How y'all doing?
We're doing amazing. I mean, I'm just kind of wondering as to, like, you don't want to jump to conclusions too early, Nick. We have lots of NBA players to interview. And I think, this could be a scenario in which
one of one.
CJ's one of one. He's one of one. You were correct.
I think I'm one of many.
Man, that was a good story, man. But thanks again for coming on. Looking forward to this. Got a lot of playoff stuff to talk about, but sort of like an overarching question, based on what we've seen in the playoffs so far. This whole idea of like super teams and big threes and sort of just going out there and signing the big name free agent. We saw the Lakers did that. Yeah, they won a title. But this year they lose in 5 to the Nuggets. Shout out to me, plus 285. Told you guys to bet that. Also said to bet the -1.5 series. Thought it would be in 4 or 5 for the Nuggets. But this idea of like super teams, right? We saw the Lakers drop out. We saw the Suns. That was probably the most shocking shit. I was so wrong on that one. I had the Suns in 5. They ended up getting swept. How do you feel about the big three? Do you think this is just like an anomaly? Do you think the whole idea of let's get the biggest names, biggest players on one team, or are you like through the draft kind of guy?
I'm more so like through the draft kind of guy. I like how the Warriors built their team. Obviously, they had a KD after the fact. But I think if you take the Nuggets, for instance, they got a superstar like Jokic, but then they got another superstar like Jamal Murray, and then they have pieces around it like Aaron Gordon, KCP, Michael Porter Jr., who's shooting the hell out the ball. Like, they got guys who play 3 and D. You don't need a whole bunch. You don't need 3 or 4 superstars. You got to find guys who match up together and have role players around them. I think that's why the Lakers are failing, because they got 2 superstars, but the role players don't really mesh up with LeBron and AD.
Yeah, and also like Porter, they drafted Porter. He had those back issues coming out of college, and then they gave him that big contract, and people were slandering that.
Yeah.
And now he just nails, dude, right in their mouth. I was about to say nails them in their mouth.
Yeah,
that's low-key what he does.
Yeah, he's been playing well,
bro.
man. I mean, shit, he's when he gets going too, they seem just unstoppable. And I like that you mentioned the Nuggets too, because I always bring them up. And then also you look at like, the Celtics, like at least the core pieces. I know they went and got Porzingis. I know they went and they got Drew Holiday. But for the most part, Tatum and Brown. And then you look at a team like my team, the Knicks, they kind of did that all through free agency. Like, they don't have anyone outside of McBride. They don't got anyone that they've drafted.
Right. Yeah.
But they're not spending the 50+ million on the 3 guys. And then you look at the rest of your roster, you're like, damn, bro, there's got a lot of dudes on the veterans minimum. Cheap plug, right? You got to get those guys on there. I don't know, bro. I feel like sometimes we're so quick to just be like, the big 3 shit don't work no more.
Yeah, yeah.
And then who knows? Maybe next year you get a random trade that goes down in the summer and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
big 3 is back.
I think is the chemistry thing is the whole thing. Like, take for instance the Suns. They got 3, great scorers, but they try to make Bradley Beal a point guard. He's not a point guard. He's a scorer. He's a natural born scorer. That's how he made the All-Star team. That's how he got his name in the league, was being a scorer, not distributing the ball. So I feel like, when you got guys like that, you got to really take into consideration it's going to take time to build, and then also for them to organically, kind of gel together.
When you would be on teams and you'd see new guys come in, whether it's from free agency or more so in the draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, you're on a team, you're a vet over there, and they bring a new dude in through the draft. How quickly can you sniff out that they could ball or they might be a bust? Can you tell, like, instantly?
Oh, yeah, for sure, yeah. Probably, like, the first couple of days or the first day probably. And then also just not how he plays, but his attitude, how he carries himself, on the court, off the court, all that kind of stuff. Is he going to mess with the older guys, the younger guys? Is he going to come in here and be a problem? Is he not going to do rookie duties? Like, a lot of rookies don't want to do nothing. So the older guys get pissed at that, and they want to, don't mess with you after that. So it's a whole thing that can kind of derail that the motion. But I definitely think you can tell on the first day.
Yo, that's crazy, bro. I'm so blown away by that answer because I had Robert Mathis. He used to play for the Colts. I had him on the show, and I asked him the same thing, and he said because he was a defensive end, and when he would go up against tackles, he said first pass rush.
Yeah,
he's like for the way they engage with me, obviously football is more of a collision sport.
100%.
But he's like, the first time they put their hands on me, I could tell that like you're a dog or you're kind of like
easy night.
Yeah, you're kind of soft as shit. Yeah, best way to put it.
Like there's no other. That's exactly what he was doing. It was a bull rush too. You don't even need to tell me that, but he was lowering his shoulder into his head.
Right.
You said rookie duties in basketball. I know in football it's like carrying the shoulder pads and stuff. Like, what does it look like in basketball?
So basketball, I mean, getting coffee for players, getting donuts, getting newspapers, carrying like a little Dora the Explorer backpack the whole season, maybe buying some meals, whatever the case may be, but just little stuff like that.
Dang, who had to carry the Dora backpack? You mentioned that for
who had to carry
reason.
on my team?
Who was it?
I forgot who it was, but it was 2 people because they were both got drafted the same year, and they carried it the whole season. If they missed it, then they would have to do extra duties throughout the whole month or the whole rest of the year. So it's just people just make stuff up on the fly.
Yeah, bro.
You guys had time on your hands.
Yeah,
Dude, you've seen some of those. You've seen some of those like rookie meals that they got to pay for the vets.
Yeah,
that's football stuff though. Basketball, you really don't do that.
Oh, you don't do that?
Yeah,
Okay.
it's mostly football. I feel like.
Damn.
yeah, no, because they come out to like $25,000-$30,000 sometimes.
Yeah, that's before they get paid too. I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're just sweating it out, dude.
Bro, that's
That Amex better sweat. That Amex
Better go through.
shit for real, man. I want to talk about the Knicks and the Sixers. I'm a Knicks fan. They dropped Game 5. I feel like the series is where it needs to be, though. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like the Sixers lost a heartbreaker in Game 2, and then the Knicks lose a heartbreaker in Game 5. And I feel like even though those games didn't go the way they should have,
Yeah.
we're at the right spot in the
Yeah.
sense of through 5 games, I think it should be 3-2 in favor of the Knicks. Man, Maxi's been the best player in this series, start to finish. Like Game 1 to Game 5, he's been a dog. I feel like he takes it personal because he was also an all-star.
Yeah.
But this whole year, it's been the Jalen Brunson experience.
Yeah.
And rightfully so, bro. Like, shit, Jeremy Lin was going crazy for like 6.5 games, and we was building statues
Right,
for him.
yeah.
So when you're the point guard for the Knicks, especially when you've had a long history of a lot of pain as a Knicks fan
Yeah.
dealing with some point guards, I think Maxey has taken it personal.
Yeah.
Like, yo, I'm still in the East. I'm the best point guard
Yeah.
in the East. How you feel about this series from what
I
you
mean,
see?
I like it. I think Philly and New York is still kind of close, so there's a lot of rivalry right there. And then just playing in the Garden, playing in Philly, the fans in Philly are crucial to them, winning or losing, because they'll boo you if you're playing bad, but they'll also cheer the other team. So, and the same thing in the Garden too. They love basketball, but I definitely think if Julius Randle wasn't injured, I think it'd be a different series. But like I said, he's not playing right now. But I definitely think, the way Embiid's playing and Maxi's playing together, I think they can maybe if they win this game, they maybe win Game 7. I don't know.
Yeah,
I know you're a Knicks fan. You don't want to hear that, but
No, I told him
I
this.
don't want to go.
Yeah. On last week's show, I was like, out of all the series that are 2-0,
Yeah.
the Sixers got a shot here, dude. A real shot.
Yeah, because we do this. So like, since it's like a lot of betting on this show, we'll come up with segments where it's like, if I was to give you $1,000 and you had to bet a team that's down 2-0 to win the series, he said the Sixers, and like, bias aside, I felt like that was the right answer.
yeah.
So I think the craziest thing is if they lose Game 6, the Knicks that is, bro, there's a lot of pressure now going back to the Garden. And for as dope as it is to play in the Garden when the Knicks are good, you played in the league, so you're a perfect person to ask. Because I always hear these stories about dudes when they go to play in the Garden, it's different and you look forward to it. Is that the case?
Yeah, for sure. Because you have the number one, the celebrities. Then you're in New York.
Word.
And like the arena isn't super big, but the energy is just crazy in there because it's New York. They'll cuss you out. The fans are crazy. And like I said, just the energy in the building from all the celebrities in the building sitting courtside, and you want to play good in front of them, and then also you just want to win because this is the mecca of basketball. This is like the mecca. So it's just fun playing there. It's hard to describe. You just got to be in that environment to be able to feel the energy in the building.
Bro, as a fan, like, even when the Knicks were bad, there was like a vibe in the arena.
Yeah.
And shit, for the longest time, like mid 2010s, when my boys and I would go to games, it would be to watch the other team. Because they were putting out a roster. They were winning 17, 20 games. It was rough. Like they went through a pretty
Cheap
rough
tickets,
patch.
probably.
And that's the worst part about it. It's never
No?
cheap tickets,
Yeah,
bro.
yeah. It's New York. Yeah.
Well, I get it, but like cheaper.
Nah, bro, legit. And it was the thing that always used to frustrate me because my buddy Josh is a Pistons fan, right? Never been to Detroit, but he grew up in like, Chauncey Billups and those guys. Like that was his squad. And he would drive, born and raised in New York, he would drive to Philly to watch when the Pistons would play because the ticket would be like $180 and he'd be behind the bench.
Right.
Bro, you couldn't even get into the Garden for $180.
Yeah.
Crazy.
And when you did,
You were up the top.
you was with the banners. You were deep. So and again, they're winning 25 games a year. Where every other city, if your team is that bad, it's like, you could probably get like $20 tickets and have a decent seat.
Yeah. And I feel like the Knicks fans, they know basketball too. Like they're not just cheering just to cheer. They know exactly like what they're cheering for. Like you said, they'll cheer for the other team if they're better than the Knicks. So that's why I think I respect the Garden in that sense, especially the fans.
Yeah, and I mean, we got your former coach.
Yeah. Tibbs is great, man. I think I see him more frustrated now than he was back in the day. But definitely, I think like you can see the pressure, building if they don't win this Game 6. I feel like Game 7 back in New York, if they lose that one, it's gonna I don't know. Hopefully, they don't fire him, but the writing's on the wall because they're the talk of the town now.
Yeah,
He's
and
done
especially
so much.
Nah, he definitely has,
like,
man.
Yeah.
But that's the reality of the NBA.
And the guys like playing for him.
Yep.
Play a lot of minutes.
Yeah.
They're down, they played seven
They're
seven
bonus
guys.
incentives,
Yeah.
dude. He's
Yeah.
trying to help him out with that.
Tibbs doesn't play a lot of people either in playoffs. He plays like 7 or 8 deep. He doesn't go super deep like maybe a lot of other teams. Tibbs has a short leash.
Do you prefer that?
I mean, I think so because you know what you're getting, but also, guys get tired over a period of a series because, I mean, it's just natural. You're going to get tired. You're going to get beat up and bruised and, injuries happen. So you got to be able to trust your other players. If you can't trust them in, Game 6 or 7, then they're not going to get any playing time.
Damn, that's so true, man. I mean, shit, he played 7 guys in the last game. And
Yeah, it's
there
crazy.
were some times where you would watch, and not with the Knicks, but I think he did it with Chicago. I mean, you'd be able to attest to this. I feel like he's played 6 guys in the game.
Maybe he probably has, yeah. I don't know if with us because we went pretty deep. We went like 10 deep.
Yeah,
but
you guys had a deep
yeah,
roster.
but yeah.
Well, that also helps too. Like if you
Yeah,
do
yeah.
have 10 guys that you trust.
Right, yeah.
But I feel like over the last couple of years, you've seen like 8, maybe 9.
Yeah.
He's stressed out, dude. It was easy back
Yeah.
then. He had a 10-man rotation back then. He's
Yeah.
trying to make something happen here with the
Right.
Knicks. They're going to can him if he
Yeah.
doesn't. That's
It's a
pretty
lot of
fun.
pressure too. You're in New York. It's all, media's
Yeah.
always talking. People are always going to criticize every move you make. So it's tough. It's tough being in big markets like that.
How you feel about Jalen Brunson?
I love him, man. His dad was my shooting coach in Chicago.
Oh, that's dope.
So kind of little memories there. But I love his game. It's tough guarding left-handed players, and he's made the best of it. And this is a kind of like an ISO league now, and he's make the best of it because you can dribble as many times as you want and can't really touch anybody. So he's getting to his spots on the court and making the most of it.
Yeah, and I like his game a lot too because I always talk about how my favorite players, and maybe because I told you the Paul Pierce story, right?
Yeah, yeah.
When Paul Pierce was here. So like I always gravitate to players that were not explosive because I
Right.
wasn't an explosive player. But like Brunson, he's like so crafty.
Yeah.
And like shit, the amount of times he does that like jumps and lays up with the same side.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
yeah.
unconventional
Off
shit.
the, yeah,
too.
coming from the right with the left. Yeah. He got smacked hard as hell in that last game by Joel Embiid. Did
Oh,
you
yeah, I
guys see
remember
that?
that. Yeah.
Did you see the handprint that was still on his face when he went and took the free throws after?
Mm.
It was insane.
I'm glad you mentioned Embiid because if they do lose, and they're still favored to lose the series, right now the Knicks are minus 350 to advance in the series. I'm looking at the Patreon picks, plus 650 Knicks and 6. So hopefully,
You know,
we do
for the
have
people-
that bet live.
For the people.
Yeah. So, and like I said, all the Knicks plays were homer picks, right? Like just gonna be transparent. But CJ, if the Sixers lose, right? Like how much longer are we waiting on the process?
I think it's over.
It's a wrap,
I
right?
think Embiid got to go somewhere where he got some more help. It's tough in Philly. I feel like Tobias is not playing great. I mean, I still think it's also hard to play with a guy like Joel Embiid because they just throw him the ball and everyone else is just standing in the corner and just sitting there. So it's hard for you as a player to get a rhythm, to get a flow of the game. And then when you do get the ball, it's kind of like, I get the ball at 2 seconds. If I just throw anything up, it's definitely not going in. So it's looking bad on me. So I definitely think he's in a bad spot, but I definitely think that he has to figure out, another home.
Yeah, it would seem like it too. I like that you brought that up, bro, because there's been so many times where you'll see a guy like 5 seconds, 4 seconds on the shot clock.
Ticking
No,
time. They
dude.
throw you a ticking time bomb.
Yeah,
So
bro.
long. Yeah, everything is just delayed when Joel Embiid has to get the ball. And that's one of the questions that I was going to ask you is like when you have a superstar that's nursing an injury,
Yeah.
big time clutch moments, what do you think the game plan and strategy should be? Because it looked like the Sixers were like, no matter how hurt Joel Embiid is, it was rumored
the
he
ball,
had
yeah.
Bell's palsy, which
Yeah.
is like pretty nuts. He can barely even see. But they're like, we're going to him
Right.
in clutch time moments until Tyrese Maxey,
Yeah.
said Joel, let other people do it. What is your thoughts on that?
I mean, if I was the coach, I wouldn't. I mean, I would still play through him, but definitely let others make a play. But he's going to demand a double team, triple team, so you got to be able to get the ball out of his hands. So I definitely think that's why you got to have more than one player on your team. That's why it's good the guy Maxey because he's making big time shots. He made hell of a shots in the last game to help him tie the game and then eventually win it. So I definitely think you got to go to your other guys.
Yeah. Have you ever seen that conversation with a coach and like the superstar saying like, "Hey, you gotta start passing the rock, dude"?
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, I think they're in a hard position because it's the superstar. He's the franchise of the team. At the end of the day, the coach is going to go before the superstar, before the player. So I definitely think they're going to give him the ball and give him a chance and see what happens. Because like I said, if not, you're the bad guy.
True.
Yo,
It's a
honest,
tough case to be in.
Yeah.
I feel like that should be the case. I think there's only 2 coaches right now in the league that it's like Spoelstra and maybe Popovich just because of the
Yeah.
years of
Expertise.
and being
Yeah.
dominant and successful. But if you're like a new guy, bro, like Darwin Ham, I think it's a wrap for him. He's gonna be the fall guy,
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
and it's not gonna be LeBron. It's not gonna be AD.
Yeah.
Mhm.
And with the Lakers, to pivot over to that, has there ever been guys that just like had your number or just had your team's number? Because I feel like, bro, AD played really well.
Great.
And then he just had like a terrible 4-minute stretch in
Yeah.
game 2
That's
against
all
Jokic.
everybody ever remembers.
And that's it. And bro, I think he had like 32 and 15 or
Yeah.
some shit. It's
Yeah.
like, oh, he went crazy.
It's crazy.
But again, it's Jokic and the Nuggets. I think they're like 12-1 against them in the last 13. And he was having them doing the chicken dance and put them in
Yeah.
a blender. And that's all, like you said, that's all we remember.
Right. Yeah.
Were there guys that you played against that maybe the matchup, like he would always just cook you guys?
Yeah, I think so. You definitely have those players in the league because, like you said, guys, whatever their motivation is, playing against an old coach, an old team, old friend, or whatever, they get up for certain games, and sometimes you just can't stop them, and it's just their day. So I definitely think you always have those games, but for the most part, I think for the Lakers, I think it's just I didn't think they had a chance. I feel like they were going to get swept. They won one more game than I thought they would win.
Yeah.
And like I said, I think if they won that game 5, it would have been tough for the Nuggets going back to LA, but obviously, that didn't happen.
And then on the flip side, were there guys that you're good? Nah, it's fine. Do you need to answer that?
No.
Oh. On the flip side though, like were there dudes that you just, when you see them on the schedule, you just knew that if I wanted to, I could go out there and get 30? Or teams?
I don't think I ever thought that, but I thought, like I said, certain motivation would give me up for certain games, like a player I played in college or someone that got drafted ahead of me. Obviously, I didn't get drafted, but definitely, guys that did, I would get up for those games and stuff like that, and make sure I played well against them, just so they would remember, and maybe other people too. But I definitely think you have just certain little motivations that get you up for certain games. So I think everyone's different.
Yeah, no, we gotta. That's where us as sports bettors, I always felt like if I had infinite time or if I could slow down the clock, I would go through every player's Twitters. I would like find a way to hack their iCloud, see what websites they're on, like geolocate them to know who's actually here for it. But I don't have the ability to do that. That being said, it would be a telltale sign if like I knew like a dude stole your like lunch money in elementary school,
right? And
you had it in a journal somewhere,
right?
That's insider info right there. Dude.
I mean, dude,
we got to start investigating like this, Nick.
I mean, bro, in the NFL, like I would always, whenever like someone would have a bad fallout with a team,
yeah,
because like in the NFL, the wackest thing is that the contracts aren't guaranteed, right?
Yeah.
So you sign $100 million contract, they could cut you after 18 months.
Yeah.
Like a year and a half, two seasons. It's like, all right, we paid you the 40, but good luck on your future endeavors.
Yeah.
You're sitting over here like, bro, I got this mortgage now. I got all this shit. And now I'm a free agent. Like guys are more spiteful, I feel like, in the NFL. So shit, man, I call it the revenge narrative. Like you said, like, oh, bro, this guy's definitely scoring a touchdown. Like, I gotta, man, there was one year, I'll never forget it, like 2017. It was just like every week I would call out on the show, like, yo, this is a revenge game. I swear to God, like of the 16-week season, bro, 15 of those weeks, the dude I pointed out scored a touchdown.
Yeah.
And then he would middle finger the crowd, but like that's how he felt. Yeah. So I get that whole revenge thing. What do you think the Lakers do? You think LeBron goes back to the Lakers?
I don't know. I mean, I think I feel like he wants to play with his son, obviously.
Yeah.
So whoever gives him the best option to play with his son, I think that's where he goes. If he stays in the Lakers, they got to rebuild the team around more so AD. Then I feel like LeBron, get another ball handler in there, get some guys who can shoot the three and play defense. Just role players, because they don't have that right now. They got just a whole bunch of players that kind of really do a whole bunch of different things that don't really cater to AD and LeBron. So
yeah,
very true.
I mean, shit, man. If you're a team, you have a first-round pick. Like, take a chance. LeBron was still amazing this year.
Yeah. Oh, 100%. When he turned it on, like in the first quarter, I think it was game 2. I just saw like the flashes of 2016 LeBron, just the way that he bullies people, and I'm like, I mean, bro, of course he's going to be able to do this for the next 5 years.
Yeah,
maybe.
Also,
science is crazy.
Game 2, when Anthony Davis was struggling with Jokic, and everyone just seems to remember that. LeBron hit like 4 big shots in that fourth quarter.
Yeah,
and that looked like that vintage LeBron, like Miami Heat LeBron. Like I felt like that was the best version of LeBron.
Yeah.
So were you saying a team this next year should just take a shot at drafting Bronny just to?
Yeah, and you get like if you're a team that, because I feel like from what I've read, people I've talked to that like really cover college basketball, if his name wasn't Bronny James,
we wouldn't be talking about him.
We wouldn't be talking about him. So if you're a team, like if you're a team and you're picking like 23rd,
right?
23rd, that means that you're probably closer to winning a title than not winning a title. Take him in the first round.
I would too.
LeBron's gonna come through.
Yeah.
Now you got LeBron James. He's playing with his kid.
And you might get him at a discount, but your
Probably get
ticket
him-
sales are ticket sales going to go out the building.
Yeah,
and have
and
every game
LeBron
on
just want to.
TV.
Yeah, LeBron just want to play with his kid. He's
Right.
made enough money.
Yeah,
he got enough money.
He has no motivation anymore.
Yeah,
He
I'm
will
just-
still sign a max contract.
Sure.
But you know,
Some
Yeah, man,
under
they'll
the table stuff.
Right,
they would
yeah.
definitely figure that
Some
out.
under the table
Team
stuff.
ownership on the side.
Yeah. Here's 1% of the team, bro. We'll reveal it after the season.
Right.
You have to find a team that's going to lose their head coach because that's LeBron's favorite thing, just to go in and just like, I'm the coach now.
Yeah.
All right.
Just take over.
Yeah. I like that you agree with me on that too, bro. Because I was thinking about it. I'm like, yo, why not? Like, if you're a team, I'm trying to think of a team that's like Orlando Magic, right? They got a really young team. Say they get the 19th pick in the draft. Why not, bro? Take Bronny James.
Yeah. My guess is he goes to Dallas. My little foresight.
Whoa.
He goes to Dallas. They make a run for it. Him, Luka, Kyrie. That'd be crazy.
Shit, that would
God
be
damn,
crazy.
This is how we felt about the Suns going into last year, and it was
Yeah.
just like,
Well, it's different though, because I feel like the pieces will complement each other better.
Yeah.
Where like
yeah,
Booker and Beal kind of play the same position on the floor.
Yeah.
And they don't have a point guard. Where
Right.
like you got Kyrie.
Luka and LeBron play the same.
Yeah, but LeBron could adjust with everybody, bro. And he's played with Kyrie.
Yeah. Before, yeah. And I feel like he wants to play with them again. Like they botched that, Kyrie trade to LA, whatever,
Yeah.
a couple seasons ago. So I don't know. That's just my little foresight, me doing homework.
Shit, I'm
Who knows if
flipping-
Did he
work.
buy a house out there? Like that was like how we knew he was
I
coming to
don't know.
Los Angeles. And
That
I don't know. I was
yeah,
like
yeah.
following Colin Cowherd, and he's like, rumor has it he saw a real estate agent 2 days ago.
Right.
Yeah, right next door to me. He's right there. Yeah. Those are always the best, dude. But yeah, I remember hearing about Devontae Adams had
Mhm.
like purchased a house out in Nevada, and then like 2 weeks later,
Yeah.
signed.
Yeah.
Love that.
this-
Insider trading.
Insider info, man.
Another series I want to ask you about. It's not one that has happened. It's one that's going to happen. It's going to tie into one of the questions I want to ask you. Timberwolves and the Nuggets, right? Shit, I couldn't have been more right about the Nuggets series and then more wrong
Right.
about the Timberwolves.
Yeah.
Anthony Edwards, before we started recording, I asked you about, do you think he could be the face of the league?
Yeah.
And shit, you said that he is already.
I think so already. I mean, just the swagger that he plays with, man. Even off the court, man, he's just hilarious. And just watching his interviews, stuff like that. But just the confidence he has. I feel like the young guns coming in now they're not scared of their idols anymore. They looked up, to KD and all these other players, and they want to take him out the game. So I think just from that aspect, and then just what he does on the court, man. Taking over games, putting people on posters, being the leader of his team. I definitely think he's on that kind of Jordan-esque type of run.
I also like that he's not so, like, he respects KD,
Yeah.
Yeah.
but I like that he was like,
Yeah.
this is
Yeah.
my shit.
Yeah,
you
talking
know?
trash to him,
Yeah,
yeah.
man, because everybody
playing your big
trains
brother.
together in the off season.
Yeah.
Everybody's on vacations and they do the pickup games, which is dope. Like, it's cool to see, but I also like that, man.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean, remember Jason Tatum in his first real battle with LeBron? They in a Game 7 series,
Yeah.
Tatum dunked it on LeBron and flexed on him after. That there was like moments of that I was remembering seeing Anthony Edwards do that.
Yeah.
He's tough, dude.
Yeah.
Like I thought, Carl Anthony Towns would, because he's always been like a dog that likes to bark, but like now he's got a partner.
Yeah.
It's like and then Rudy Gobert caused COVID. I mean, he's one of the scariest guys alive. Like,
Known to man.
dude, yeah, they are just a terrifying team. That's nuts.
and yo, like, he also, I feel like something needs to be said about how he puts confidence in his teammates too.
Yeah.
Like, he had that clip that went viral. I don't know if it was during the season or maybe in the off season where he said about McDaniels. He's like, yo, they got Durant, but we got McDaniels. And everybody was like, bro, KD. And then you
Yeah.
looked at some of the numbers. I think it was like the per 36. He held them to 24% from the field when he was
Yeah.
guarding them. So
Yeah, he's a dog, man. Like,
Yeah.
They got a team full of dogs, man. They got a good mix of vets and young guys. Like Mike Conley is great. Like he's perfect for that team. Doesn't have to do too much. He lets Ant and Cat take over at times, and I think that's what you need from from good teams.
this whole mixture of vets with young guys, do you buy into like, yo, teams need to have playoff experience?
I don't think I have to. I don't buy it, but you got to have some vets on your team that at least been there before, maybe been to the first or second round, can tell you about what's going to happen, the crowd aspect, the refs, the just everything. Because I definitely think that helps. Because going through it is another thing, experience. But when you get on the court, it's kind of shocking to actually go through it. But I definitely think now we're coming to an age where every team, like in the West, is pretty young, and they're the top teams. And they can eventually maybe get to the finals and win it. So definitely think maybe somebody can win. But I'm still a big believer in vets. Gotta win, gotta help you win, and you gotta have vets on your team to be able to win the championship.
Yeah, and also just I think we talked about it last time. Where you like, hey man, maybe don't stay out too late.
Yeah.
Like having the vets on the team for the off the court stuff.
Yeah,
too.
yeah.
Like, bro, that girl, she bad news, man.
Right,
And,
yeah.
shit like that too. I think that's really important because I've always said like it's dope to have a bunch of dudes on your team that are under 25 because the future is bright.
Right.
But then it's also dudes that are under 25. Like
Right.
the one thing, CJ, that always drives me crazy, bro, is I'm 33, right? If I got $20 million tomorrow, camera, I'm gonna do some dumb shit. So when you're 20, you're
Right.
21, you're a lottery pick, and all of a sudden, I got $100 million fully guaranteed, unlike football in the bank. Yeah, the dudes are gonna do something dumb, but that's why you need the grizzled vets to be like, hey man, 2 cars is cool, not 9.
Right.
Or
Yeah.
some
Yeah.
shit,
Yeah,
So
for
I
sure,
think
yeah.
that's just as important, man. And then you look at some of the numbers from like a betting standpoint. Teams that make the playoffs back-to-back years in the second round. So these are teams that advanced, right? So it was a team that made the playoffs the year before and they advanced to the second round. Those teams, when matching up with a team that didn't make the playoffs before that season, 78% they win the series.
Follow the numbers.
Yeah.
So that's something where you're looking at like the winner of this Mavericks and Clippers series going up against the Thunder. Big edge for Clippers or Mavericks, whoever does win that.
Yeah.
Game 5 is going on at the time of recording. But yeah, I was always curious about that, man. And that's why it's dope having you on the show because, like, we make a lot of assumptions and speculations.
Right. Yeah.
Like as sports bettors, it's, I did a show with Will Blackman, played in the league for 14 years in the NFL. And there'd be so many times where I'd be like, yo, bro, coach just got fired. Do you guys get like, like the Disney movies and shit? He's like, bro, we don't care.
Right.
Like, we got to put good shit on tape.
Yeah.
I'm a free agent at the end.
Right. Yeah.
My whole life, I thought, yo, coach got fired.
Right.
And a rally behind them. And he's like, nah, bro, it's not the case.
Right.
So it's always cool to have people that actually was in the trenches.
Yeah.
To school you on this stuff.
Yes. How do you feel about Donovan Mitchell? And is he the man or is he still a boy?
That's a good question. I haven't watched him honestly enough, but I think watching the couple Orlando Cavs game, I think Orlando wants it more. I think they got more like hungrier dogs than like Cleveland has like a whole bunch of nice guys, to put it in like a good perspective. They're still a good team, got good players, but I think Orlando just wants it more, and I think they're going to end up winning the series, I feel like.
Yeah, that's I haven't really watched much of the Magic, and seeing Paulo play, and when you mentioned like LeBron possibly going there if they got Bronny, like I would say Paulo plays a lot like a young LeBron in the sense where he's just like very physical, but he's able to hit the mid-range jumper, struggles from 3, but he'll get better. So that's an interesting player that I've gotten the chance to watch. And then the Wagner kid is nuts.
Yeah.
They had a lot of lights out shooters. Joe Ingles, I wonder where he went. And then all of a sudden,
found him
going into commercial break, I see him turning. He's gotten thick, man.
Yeah.
Joe Ingles is
CJ
he's a wall.
CJ might hate this because I feel like he's pro player, which I've always been pro player too.
Yeah.
Like I'm always like, yo, get your money. But I remember we had a segment where when they played the Clippers, or no, I think it was when Paul George was with the Thunder,
Yeah.
and like Joe Ingles just like locked him
Locked him
down,
out, yeah.
and then he was a free agent. I was like, yo, if I was a GM, I would have had a picture of Joe Ingles on the board when he came in. I'd be like, yo, bro, 40 million, but
Right.
come on, man. This Aussie white dude is
Right.
just stopping you from getting dirty. Like, come on,
Yeah.
man. We'd have to have the conversation.
Yeah.
But yeah, dude, like, yo, there's certain guys like fuck with Alvarado from.
Yeah.
the
I love
Pelicans a
Alvarado.
lot. He's also
Game
from-
changer.
Yeah, he's also from New York, and I always think of it like dudes like that. Like you gotta have guys like that on your team because, like in the regular season, they won't do much, but
Right.
you know, shit. When they played the Suns, I don't know. I don't think it was last year, but recently they played the Suns in the playoffs. Like man, he's barking at Booker
Yeah.
and Paul, and he's like getting steals off them, and like
Yeah.
the moment wasn't too big for him. And those guys, like when Joe Ingles had those runs with the Jazz, like that shit's important, man.
Yeah. For sure.
That Jazz team lost a lot of good pieces. Can you imagine if they
Complete rebuild, yeah.
Yeah, it's tough.
Yeah.
I enjoy seeing that. There is no better headlines than the shit talking that the Denver or not Denver fans, but the Jazz fans would do to everybody that came in. Like Russell Westbrook wanted to fight him like one year, and yeah, the reports were always like,
But that's a
This-
pretty.
that place is
they're pretty aggressive
intense.
to play, right?
Yeah, that place is those are racist fans.
Yeah.
They're more than intense.
Yeah,
I mean-
that's exactly what it is. Yeah,
Yeah.
for sure.
yeah. I mean, but it kind of comes to the point where you're like, it happens across the league.
Yeah.
I would imagine.
No,
right?
more so in Utah though. More so than anywhere else, I feel like. At least from my perspective and like talking from other teams and other players and stuff like that, it happens all the time only in Utah. I don't know why.
You feel they would like police it better, especially when Donovan Mitchell's like their best player for 4
Right.
years.
Yeah.
You know what they got to do to police it.
What?
Yo, one of my favorite sporting events, and he was in the studio last week.
Oh yeah.
Meta World Peace,
Yeah.
bro. Malice at the Palace.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like needs to be shown
Yeah.
as a 30 for 30 every week.
Right.
Before when you buy season tickets, they
Yeah.
gotta say you this because
Don't
there's
do
some
this,
people
yeah.
you can't talk to people that way.
Right, yeah,
bro.
for sure.
Like you can't. Like
Mhm.
when I go to games and like I like to drink, I get fucked up. The worst thing I'll say is like if you're playing
Yeah.
and I bet against the other team or some shit and you miss a jump shot, I'll be like, yo, he's with us.
Right, yeah.
You know,
yeah.
like you're not gonna want to fight me for that.
Right,
But if I
yeah.
start slandering your wife, your kids,
that's
your-
different,
all that,
yeah,
yeah.
It's like,
Yeah.
bro, you're crossing the line.
Yeah, yeah.
Like,
And that's what people do a lot. They cross the line and they don't know, what's off limits and what's not. And I feel like that's what happens a lot of time in sports because people just come. I say this all the time to my daughter all the time. I said, sports is the only place where you can go to someone's job, talk bad about them, criticize them. I can't go to, if you're a doctor, I can't go to, hey, you messed up this surgery. I can't go to a dentist and say, you messed up this person's teeth. Only in sports you can do that. They can drink and they do all that kind of stuff and they can get away with it unless someone stands up for themselves and says something.
yeah. Or if they know for a fact that if I call you a bitch,
Yeah,
you can come up and slap
So,
me
yeah,
and
yeah.
not have no repercussions.
Right.
And that's why I always say, like, I know I'm pretty playful about it and I fuck around a lot, but if I knew for a fact, if I call CJ Watson a bitch and he comes over and you could hit me
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you can't get sued,
Yeah.
I don't think I'd be as open to it because they live
Right.
behind that crutch too. They're like, oh, yo, hit me. I'm going to
See
take
what
you for
happens.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah, and then there's some people like Meta World Peace
yeah. Right.
and Steven Jackson.
Yeah.
Did you guys see when LeBron flinched at the fan the
I
other
was
day?
just
Yeah,
about to bring it up,
yeah,
dude.
that too.
It was funny.
She was like, "Mwah."
right.
So, okay. All right. Let's just go through the list, though. I mean, obviously, the things that we were listing out were pretty bad, but a girl going crybaby to
That's
you,
fine. That's part of the game.
that's
Yeah.
okay, right?
Yeah,
like,
That's part of the game.
Yeah,
like maybe
man.
we have to have like a list of like acceptable things to, disgrace the other team.
Yeah.
Dude, Joe Harris was at the free throw line the night that we went to when I was in Miami for the bachelor party and I found out that the Nets were out there. I've told this story many times. Fucking clip went crazy. And he's at the free throw line and I'm just like, yo, how was 11? And he misses the free throw. And then like I could see a smile in his face as he has his foot down, just dribbling. I mean, my friends are laughing. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Like that's playful shit. But when you
Yeah.
cross the line, man,
Yeah.
it's just there's certain things that you can't say. And I always feel like, yo, if fans knew for a fact that they can't act a fool that
Right,
way,
yeah.
I think you'd be a little bit more hesitant.
Yeah, for sure.
Once a year. Yeah. Once a year.
Like a purge.
a play. No. A single night? No. Well, it's random. Can you imagine? No.
The NBA just
gotta-
announces March 17th.
Hmm.
All bets are off. You just get to
No,
Right.
what they do is like hecklers only. Like we're only selling tickets to people that are gonna heckle. And they just go out there and just drop the mitts, dude, before tip off.
Before we wrap up and we let you go, man, I appreciate your time once again. And hopefully we could do this again
Yeah.
in a couple weeks, get a little update. He's a Celtics fan. Bro, I don't know, dude. Like from a betting standpoint, they're as high as like minus 300
Yeah.
to win the East. I don't want to say the Knicks. I mean, I wish like I've been looking at the Bucks betting stuff. Like, yo, if Dame and Giannis could come back, but we just don't know the status of those guys. Do you feel like the Celtics should be the lead dog going?
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah,
Yeah.
they should. I mean, they got the better team hands down. You know, from top to bottom, they got the depth. They got the best starting five. I mean, obviously Porzingis is out, but besides that, they got two of the toughest young kids in the league right now, and they play well together. So then you got add Drew Holiday to that. That's a big three right there. So. And the way Derek White's playing, he's playing like he's playing like a superstar. So I mean, I think they definitely should get no less than getting back to the finals at least.
Oh,
Agreed.
yeah, dude, if they can't make the finals,
If they don't win the title this year, blow it up. Blow up the process.
nah, because
blow-
I still would favor like for me, I think it's Denver.
Yeah, I still think Denver's gonna win it. Yeah,
I still think it's Denver. I made the case for them around this time last year, how people were saying, yo, it's not a big market. Denver, like who wants to watch Denver and Miami in the finals? I'm like, bro, we felt this way about Golden State not too long ago.
yeah.
Right. And then all of a sudden it's like, oh shit, if Golden State isn't in the finals, it's not a
Right.
good final. So
Yeah.
you get these generational talents and you build these rosters that all of a sudden now, like, shit, man, who would have thought that the Kansas City Chiefs would get 8 primetime games a year?
Right.
They got Mahomes, and now they've won 3 Super Bowls, and they're so successful. That's the same thing I think with the Nuggets, man. Like, I feel like the Nuggets should be the favorite, but I think the reason why they're not is to what you were saying before. Like, yo, the West is loaded.
Yeah, it's tough, man. I feel like the winner's gonna come out the West again, but just because that many of the teams and how they had to beat up against each other, all that kind of stuff. So I definitely think Nuggets are definitely going to come out because the East is still, you got a lot of injuries in the East. If
Yeah.
Porzingis can't go, that's a big loss. Say they play the Nuggets, who's going to guard Jokic?
Yeah.
Dude, Al
Nobody.
Horford's going to try his hardest.
Yeah.
That's where you wish you had Marcus Smart. You'd throw him at him like three possessions out of the game. Just
Yeah.
rough him up.
Right.
Guaranteed foul. God, I miss Marcus Smart. That's a difference maker in this series.
You rather have Marcus Smart than Drew Holiday?
I know it's going to sound crazy, but the best Marcus Smart, yeah. Yeah.
I'm still taking Drew Holiday.
Yeah, I'd probably still take Drew. But I think, like, if
Drew still hasn't had a Celtic moment for me yet.
he just got there.
Right, yeah. You gotta give him time.
Yeah.
Marcus was
but
there for 8 years.
You got to stand out on the screen to me. You got to stand out. Dye your hair green. I love you forever. You
You're a
know?
leprechaun.
Man, CJ, this was dope, bro. I appreciate your time. Like I've been saying, I don't take it for granted. Thanks for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me, man.
My last question to you, is it Nuggets Celtics for you in the finals?
I think so. I don't see the Knicks beating the Celtics. I don't see Indiana or the Bucks beating the Knicks. I think the Nuggets I think the winner is going to be the finals winner is going to be the Nuggets in the Timberwolves series.
Ooh, okay.
I think OKC might get upset by Dallas or LA. So, but I definitely think one of those two because Ambrose he's on a mission. I feel like they got probably one of the best teams that he's ever had around him. So, but I still think the Nuggets, if they can get past the Timberwolves, they'll end up winning it again.
The thing that upsets me about this Anthony Edwards stuff is, you know how like I was early to the party on like the Green Bay Packers.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year, I was like, yo, this is the team that they can make some noise. And then like halfway through the season, they were kind of struggling. And I was like, oh, they might not make the playoffs. I'll bet them next year. And now they're like kind of the talk of the town in the NFC. If like I was hoping they lose to the Suns kind of thing, and then
Next year,
yeah.
Jump on the
Especially,
bandwagon.
bro, in the betting space, dude, like it happens so much where you're high on a team, right? Let's just say, for example, you're high on the Thunder, and the Thunder shit the bed that year.
Yeah.
Next year, I guarantee you got PTSD.
Right. Yeah.
And I'll be like, yo, CJ, you know who I fuck with this year?
Right.
The Thunder. You'd be like, man, fuck that.
Last year,
Nah, yo, they ain't doing shit. I'll be
Yeah.
like, why? It's like, yo, I was high on them last year. So it's like public perception is big
Right.
in the sports betting space. So selfishly, I was hoping like, yo, Ant-Man, because, dude, he's only 22, bro. Like, I feel like he's he's blowing past all the expectations that they had of him. Like everyone knew that he was going to be, not everyone knew, but he was going to be one of those guys.
Yeah.
Because of how you were saying he carries himself. But shit, what he did, I think it opened up a lot of people's eyes, what he did to the Suns.
I think, like I said, this goes back to my motivation thing. He had more motivation because he said the last 2 years he's been put out the playoffs or he hasn't won a series or whatever. So, then going up against KD, that's even more motivation. That's his idol, everyone he watched. So I just think every player has that motivation. You never know what makes them tick or what makes them, be great.
You got anything else for him before we wrap?
No, I mean, CJ, definitely you need a sponsorship from whoever that shirt company is. And he wasn't wearing, he said he had matching pants. So, like, that's nuts.
Yeah, I just threw this together, man.
Yeah. I mean, well, you're doing your thing, man. I always appreciate talking to you.
No, thanks for having me, man.
Yeah.
Let the people know where they can find you on social.
Twitter and Instagram, quietstorm_32. If you want to buy some of my children's books, cjpins.com. I also have a foundation here in Vegas, quietstormfoundation.org.
You know what? We'll buy some books. Give them out to Patreon members. We need something for May.
They got nieces, nephews,
Yeah.
kids of their own.
Somebody get some kids out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, man.
Fuck
Are they? So, I mean, I'm gonna go and do my due diligence and research. But what's the age range?
Age is like 2nd to 5th grade.
Okay,
Fifth grade is kind of easy read for them, but still can handle it a little bit.
Nice.
I'll make sure to have all the links in the episode. CJ, you're the man. Thanks for coming on again. Hopefully we'll get you on in a couple weeks. George, let the people know where they can find you.
You can find me at Mr. George Carmona, all social media platforms. Nick, can they find you?
Let's go. Nice segue. At Nick Dayas 10 is where you can find me. All things Veterans Minimum or at Veterans Minimum. Check out the Patreon. Check out Rebet. Check out Unified. Check out all that shit. And we'll catch you guys next time.
In his element, I'm a gold medalist, bronze like your medal is. So many deer in headlights, but it's bedtime. Hear that supper bell, main course, be the venison.
Dab. Most dangerous game. Either kill or be